All right, happy Memorial Day. Philly with John Marks on PHLY. And something that is really, really exciting that's going on right now at PHLY is our new series, our new podcast series. It's called Exciting Mics. You might have heard about it. Cooper DeJean and Blankenship with their podcast. It's filmed right here at PHLY. And 2 episodes down, and the guys have been doing a great job. Saquon Barkley joined them in studio for this past week's version, the 2nd episode. And he said something pretty interesting. We're going to play it, and then we'll talk about it afterwards. Here's Saquon Barkley with the guys talking about how good this Eagles team this past year was.
I firmly believe when you look at our team that we had last year, and I know we're not looking too far into the past.
Yeah.
Like it's cool.
And it's crazy to see the turnaround like after, those first 4 weeks, because I don't think like a lot of us didn't even play in the preseason.
Yeah.
So I think you guys got like one drive.
You didn't play at all. No.
So those first 4 games were kind of, everybody just
we're getting used to everything
trying to work
too.
together.
Like,
and
obviously, you have training camp, but like it's kind of different when it's just in game.
you're in the heat
Like
of the
how your
moment.
coach really is. Like how's he calling the game? Like getting used to that and kind of getting used to the guys you play with. But yeah, after the bye week,
I think we just all bought in.
we just bought in.
Yeah, I think we all
It
just
was-
bought in, and like
yeah.
you hear like the outside noise and expectation. Like we didn't care how it looked. Only thing we cared about was winning football games. And when you have the talent and the skill that we have in our team, mixed with the coaches, we all play together like how we played. Like teams really stood no chance.
Right.
And you've seen that in the playoffs, and
Mhm.
you've seen that in the Super Bowl. Like
Mhm.
the score finished was 40-20 something, but
Yeah.
in reality, it wasn't even really a game.
Yeah.
top 5 team of all time. That's
Big.
Listen, I really think when we look back on it 10 to 15 years and we're all old and we're reflecting on our glory days,
10, 15
this
years.
hopefully next year, the year we're in right now, but the year that we had last year, people don't give us enough credit.
I'd probably have to agree on that. Do you know who else would be in that
I
conversation?
mean, you got the Ravens, 2000 Ravens.
Mm.
You got the Dolphins when they went undefeated.
Would you put the Chiefs teams that went back to back in there or no?
Maybe. You got to put one of the Patriots in there.
Yeah.
You got to put, if you're going to do it, you got to put one of the Chiefs. And then where it would be like, I think Patriot and the Chiefs, we could switch. And you got the Bears. The Bears had a year when they went 15-1. So those 3 teams for sure. And then one of the Chiefs within their dynasty and one of the Patriots within their dynasty. In the year that we had, it's interchangeable in my opinion.
Yeah.
So 5 or 6, I'll say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, put y'all through a little history lesson.
Yeah.
there. Yeah. Got to know the game. Got to know the game.
Father
Time,
teams,
to be honest.
All right, that was Saquon with the guys. So, top 5 team of all time. I didn't even think about it until Saquon said it, and then I did some Googles. And by the way, so no one has updated a list. Last year, I guess during training camp, somebody wrote. Actually, there's a couple of them where it's like, all right, we're ranking the best NFL teams of all time. So the 72 Dolphins are, because they went undefeated and won the Super Bowl, are typically ranked number 1 on most of these lists. I don't know how I'm comparing the Eagles of 2025 to a team that played in 1972. All right, like they barely threw the ball forward. So you're telling me if this Eagles team played that Dolphins team, like no disrespect, come on, what are we talking about here? So I can't even judge that. I think with the 78 Steelers, because how good their defense was, Terry Bradshaw, take a look at Terry Bradshaw's numbers. Again, not high quarterback play at the time. The 85 Bears were dominant. The one loss that they had during the regular season was on Monday night to the Dolphins. And then Mercury Morris celebrated after they lost that game. That was as dominant of a team as I've ever seen. Some of the 49ers teams, the 84 49ers were 18-1, including the playoffs. They won a Super Bowl. Some of the Cowboys teams, the 92 Cowboys were dominant. The Patriots that were undefeated to the Super Bowl, they lost in the Super Bowl. That was probably their best team, was the one that didn't win the Super Bowl. So can you really consider them? And then some of those other Patriots teams, they won Super Bowls, so you're not going to take anything away from them. But wasn't that really about Tom Brady and the defense and all the other parts fitting to what Tom Brady needed? So it's tough to judge, but I'll say this. The Eagles had the number one defense, and they had an offense that couldn't be stopped, right? And they ran the ball. Saquon Barkley had 2,000 yards. They didn't care about throwing the ball all over the place. They didn't care about anything like that. After they lost to the Falcons, beat the Saints, after they lost to the Bucs, beat the Browns, beat the Giants, beat the Bengals, beat the Jags, beat the Cowboys, beat the Commanders, beat the Rams, beat the Ravens, beat the Panthers, beat the Steelers. They lost that game to the Commanders when Jalen Hurts was out with injury, with the concussion. And then they won every game the rest of the season, including the Super Bowl. I don't know how you wouldn't consider them. And here's the other thing. The way that they absolutely dismantled the Chiefs in the Super Bowl has to play into any conversation, in any discussion. It just has to. They came out, a Chiefs team that was already printing 3 in a row and wearing T-shirts, or like printing T-shirts for 3 in a row. They were up 35-0 in the third quarter before the Chiefs got a couple cheapies at the end there. So I don't know how to compare them to the 72 Dolphins, but this team last year, the Eagles last year, were as dominant as any team that I can remember seeing, for sure. And the results, the proof's in the pudding. And if they come out next year and they're a dominant team again, I think you're going to look at this season as being like, you know what? No, that was for real. That wasn't a 1-year wonder. And then, like the defense wasn't as good, or Jalen Hurts wasn't as good. So yeah, like I think Saquon is, I don't think he's that far off, Tyler Zulli. I don't know what you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, when he was going through the teams, the two that stood out to me, obviously you could talk about the 72 Dolphins as the undefeated team, but the two that stand out to me were back-to-back years. The 84 49ers were 15-1. And to me, still the most dominant, when you use that word, we talk about imposing your will. To me, the most dominant team in NFL history is the 85 Bears. They were a stalwart defensively. They give up 12.4 points per game over that season. They had 14 different games of the 19 games that they played, including the postseason, in which they gave up 10 or less points per game. They had 4 shutouts on the season, and they had 9 games in which they gave up single-digit points. It's, to me, the most dominant defense that has ever played the game of football, and I still think to this day it is the archetype of when you talk about dominating defenses in the NFL. But I mean, this Eagles team, as Saquon brought it up, they were 2-2. We talked about that Browns game as a kind of pseudo must win in week 6 or whatever it was coming out of the bye. And then they went on this rampage of just basically beating every team into submission and the postseason, and then it culminates in the Super Bowl where they are at one point up, I believe it, what was it, 33 to 6?
35-0.
Yeah, 35-0,
in the third quarter.
38-6 type of thing. Like, it was as dominant of a Super Bowl performance as we've seen in a really long time. I don't know about top 5, but I don't know if I don't know if he's that far off.
Yeah, like are you playing by the rules that they played in 1984?
Well, and that's the thing too. You brought up the 72 team. Like, they would just beat up, like, not size wise. The current athlete is stronger,
bigger,
faster, physical.
Bigger. Lines are much
But the
bigger.
way that the 72 teams would have played, the way that the 85 teams would have played, would be considered, dirty.
Right.
It would be penalties.
Right, with
in
Jalen
today's
Hurts
game.
have his leg broken because
Right.
guys are taking him out.
Right, like can you head slap, like Deacon Jones head slap type of thing?
Right, there's contact on wide receivers. They weren't
comparison
calling
is hard.
5-yard penalties
Right.
and stuff. Yeah, like so. Obviously, there's. But I guess to Saquon's point, yeah, the Eagles have to be looked at as one of the better teams of all time, for sure. Yeah, for sure, they should be in the conversation. There's a lot of good teams. Listen, there's been football for a long time in the modern era. There's been a lot of good teams over the years, but there he is, Saquon Barkley. How about that? How do you follow Saquon Barkley up in studio for exciting mics? What's next?
Great question.
With BG coming in here? You would think, man about town, you think BG'd be coming in at some point. Yeah. I don't know if Quinyon Mitchell's highly entertaining as a guest, but yeah, man. Good job by the guys, man. They're killing it. Doing a great job. All right, everybody, have a great Memorial Day. Enjoy it. We'll talk to everybody tomorrow. See ya.